Well, welcome back to my shed. As you can see, I've got the engine out. I say I've got the engine out. We've got the engine out. More my brother than me. What happened last week? We were setting all the timing up, and that because it was sort of running rough, and we were trying to work it out. And the timing was out on one cylinder, so we adjusted it. Slightly out on the other, so we adjusted it. And checked the points gap. One was a bit, so we adjusted that. Checked the carb settings and all that. Then all of a sudden it took off, and it was revving at about 8,500 revs. So I whacked the ignition off, nothing. Turned the fuel off, still running. So we grabbed the rag each, cover the carbs up, and it cut out. So that was handy. It hasn't done any damage, but as you can see, everything's covered in oil because a rookie mistake. I used the wrong sealant, and normally working with 4 strokes, you don't have this problem, but obviously 2 strokes. Used the wrong, and it's got covered, and it in the end it took off. At least the bearings were well oiled. But yeah, so we've got it apart, or my brother's got it apart, and we'll be cleaning it all up and whacking it back together, back in today, and running hopefully. But yeah, just one of those things. Won't do it again, but like I say, it's been years since I worked on 2-stroke, so I didn't even think about it. But, yeah, so let's crack on. Well, there we go. We've got the engine back together. As you can see, the sealant's come out all around. We got the stuff that Z Power use for their 2-strokes. It's not the nicest stuff to work with, but if it's good enough for them and their triples, it's good enough for a Yam. So yeah, crank is all free. Next week we rebuild it, we drop it back in. Took longer to clean than we thought it was going to, but because we've had this problem, we wanted to make sure everything was perfect. We didn't want to have any issues at all. So yeah, because of that, it's obviously taken us longer than we thought it would, but a lesson learned, and hopefully this information will be passed on to yourselves if you're ever doing this sort of stuff. Hopefully you won't be in the same boat. But yeah, luckily I wasn't riding it at the time, although I would have just pulled the clutch in, but yeah, sorted. So be lucky. Oh, hang on. So we've cleaned up the bolts, heads, cylinders, same the other side. So yeah, clean the gasket surface off of the clutch, so side casing. So yeah, whacking it all back together next week and be sorted. So be lucky and ride safe, and hopefully we'll get a few more days in, a few more nice days in before it gets too cold. But yeah, sweet as.